Welcome everyone to the SWK Technology Leadership Series webinar. The intent of the series is to bring you objective thought leadership and best practices from industry experts and leading voices to discuss today's business challenges and proven solutions. We are pleased to launch our technology leadership webinar with Sandy Vosk, President of Advantage Technology Solutions and a software selection consultant with over 35 years of experience. Sandy is kicking off our series with the webinar entitled Top 5 Mistakes Companies Make When Selecting Software, where he will discuss the common and often flawed reasons companies choose software. Sandy will explain the ramifications of those choices and outline some software selection best practices. Having said that, Sandy, take it away.
Thanks so much, Antonio. I am very grateful and excited to have this opportunity today. Each of you come from different industries with unique capabilities and requirements. Some of you attending this webinar are currently seeking a new accounting or warehouse management system. Some of you will be doing so sometime in the near future. And some of you aren't quite clear as to what you need to best meet your business objectives. It has been my experience that making the right decisions and investment in technology can lead to great success and profit. Look at Amazon. However, making the wrong decisions can not only be quite costly, but as many companies have recently experienced, catastrophic to your business. When projects go bad, more often than not, the vendor is blamed, whether or not they are the root cause. My purpose today is to share personal insights from 30+ years in the supply chain industry that can help executives like yourselves be better prepared, make better business decisions, and achieve greater success in selecting the systems you need to survive and thrive. "35 years sure sounds like a long time. Some may think I'm a dinosaur, but I certainly don't see myself that way. I'm still very passionate about what I do, helping companies leverage technology at the crossroads of the physical and digital worlds. Here's the agenda for today. I'm going to go over some trends, certainly that are impacting the supply chain industry. The key topic is the top 5 mistakes companies make in selecting enterprise software. And of course, I'm going to share keys to selecting the right one for you. We'll close with some obstacles that most companies have to overcome to achieve success, and then take some questions which you could share along the way. So who do we serve? And why should you even pay attention to what I have to say? The foundation of my career was at PepsiCo in the early 80s, where I was a developer, developing software to track the sales and promotion of soda to Pepsi-owned franchises. In that time, we developed automated route management systems where trucks were loaded in the order of the stops, way ahead of the time in terms of technology, one of the first companies to use handheld devices, and still a Fortune 50 company today. In my tenure at TNT Express Worldwide in the mid-90s, I was responsible for all of IT for the Americas. It was really core to my supply chain foundation. And in that regard, I implemented the very first barcode scanning via symbol devices at that time in TNT's airport hubs, replacing totally paper-based tracking. At Philips, in 95 through the heyday of Y2K, that was my shift to outsourcing, supporting all U.S. business divisions of Philips. And the key there was that Philips was selling and implementing competency in ERP solutions, both Bond and SAP, on a fixed price basis. Some of these companies you see here hired ATS because of our expertise in mobility and RF barcode solutions. Some to support their selection process for a new warehouse management system, and some like Everlast and Mission in their selection of a new ERP system. Over the years, I've learned a great deal from every one. One of the most valuable lessons I've learned is that each of you are truly unique in your business and therefore have unique requirements. So it's really, I want to hit some key industry trends that are causing supply chain strain. The growth in smarter mobile devices, e-commerce and e-fulfillment, the Amazon effect, customers' expectations for free shipments and returns. Technology is both an enabler and a disruptor, and what does it mean to the bottom line of your business? Moore's Law, for those that don't know really what it means, the original Moore's Law derived from a speech given by Gordon Moore, later a founder of Intel in 1965, in which he observed that the number of microcomponents that could be placed in a chip of the lowest manufacturing cost was doubling every year, and this trend would likely to continue. And it certainly has, not merely in technology and the size of computers, but in every technology trend that you really can imagine. When it comes to the Internet of Things, it's not merely a step along the path to digital transformation, it's a driving force, and according to an SAP article in Digitalist magazine in last May, by 2025, the Internet of Things economic impact could reach 11 trillion US dollars. And at the core of this are smart devices that'll come in every shape and size, from nanochips to gigantic machines. The number of connected things will grow exponentially from 15 billion in 2015 to 200 billion in 2020. It's not just one technology. It incorporates other major technologies such as cloud computing, data analytics, mobile sensors, and machine-to-machine communication. With the data analytics, Internet of Things become a live communication network for fostering insights and improvements. Here's the key thing. It will also become the foundation of live business, in which companies will be able to sense and respond to customers in the moment. Not just customers, but smarter customers on smarter devices, online, and doing online shopping. U.S. Census Bureau News Report, February 17, 2017. Fourth quarter 2016 e-commerce estimates increased 14.3% from fourth quarter of 2015. E-commerce sales in the fourth quarter of 2016 accounted for 8.3% of total sales. And total e-commerce sales for 2016 were estimated just short of $395 billion, an increase of over 15% from 2015. That doesn't even put it in its proper perspective. At a retail conference last September, Greg Buzek, founder and president of IHL Group, said something profound. Listen, consumers already turn to Amazon first to look for products and reviews. Some 30% of shoppers begin their searches on Google, while 49% start on Amazon. The vast majority of shoppers in total begin a search on a marketplace when you include sites such as Etsy, eBay, and Shopify. One of my favorite quotes is by the late Wayne Dyer. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Is technology an enabler or a disruptor? The answer is obviously both. We continue to create and integrate new powerful technologies that will drastically impact every person and every industry that exists today, as well as create brand new industries. I heard an anonymous quote many years ago that had a profound influence on me, and it's why I posted the chart on the right. It's why customer service is core to my DNA. Nobody owns a customer. Nobody owns a market. Somebody can always take it from you. There really is no time to waste. I've been tracking and posting this graphic the last few years. It's one of the reasons I tell my friends and family, never ask me what's new. I don't have the time to tell you. But on a serious note, and to bang this point home, I met an ex-vice president of Omnichannel for a major retailer last week, whose company is struggling. Certainly in retail and many other companies, things are moving so fast that you can't get there fast enough. So how do you process customer orders today? What will you need tomorrow? Does your accounting or warehouse management software integrate? If so, how? Is it being done by individual file transfers, EDI, perhaps APIs on a one-to-one basis, or through specialized middleware, which will enable you to integrate with all? How do you fulfill them, your orders? Internally, are you outsourcing them? Is the process manual, automated, or semi-automated today? Where are there opportunities and cost efficiencies in internal operations, rate shopping, electronic integration, and tracking of shipments? What role does software play, and what role does hardware play in your pick and pack, shipping stations, printers, scanners, and material handling systems? What does this mean to you? This is a paradigm shift that dwarfs anything we've experienced before in our lifetimes, and actually in history, and will force every executive in the supply chain industry to look at their companies differently. How does this impact you? How will it affect your challenges and decisions? I don't know, but I have no doubt that it will. To be successful, you'll need to leverage automation. And how do you best do that? In my opinion, this is a combination of strategy, innovation, quality, efficiency, and profitability. Every organization is different. How you're set up, what your business focus is, the internal resources you have. But as Charles Darwin said, it's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. So now let's get to the heart of the webinar. The top 5 mistakes companies make in selecting enterprise software. Number 1, the lack of clarity or gaps in the business objectives. These companies are usually meeting with vendors before they know what they require. It's easy to get sold on what looks nice, but it's not always the best choice. Number 2, inadequate commitment from the top. I had the pleasure, really good fortune, last week at the International Warehouse Logistics Association to hear Professor Harry Kramer of Kellogg University and the ex-CEO of Baxter talk about leadership. Who's making the decision in your organization? Are you watching the movie or in the movie? What a great line. The most important foundation on any successful project is executive buy-in and a cross-functional team involved in and communicating all sides every step of the way. Number 3, the old RFP process doesn't cut it in the world we live in. By the time you make a decision, your business will probably have changed significantly. Number 4, as Albert Einstein said, not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. This is especially true here. The time, costs, and resources required to implement the project is where the rubber meets the road. Failure to implement projects on time, on budget, and with great customer satisfaction can have substantial and sometimes dire consequences to you. Number 5. This also came from Professor Harry Kramer. Know what you're good at and leverage it. Know what your weaknesses are and surround yourself with people you trust who have the expertise you require. So what are the top 5 criteria for success? Executive leadership, a cross-functional team, documented business requirements, an analysis process and due diligence, and a comprehensive implementation plan. There's a great deal of research which validates the fact that when software projects of this magnitude fail, it's usually because of one of these. How do you define failure? How do you define success? For me and the folks who work with ATS, it's selecting the right software, vendor, and ensuring you have a tight implementation plan. It's implementing that plan on time, on budget, and with great customer satisfaction, yours and your clients. Leadership. If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. Just a great story, great quote. And any vendor solution will be okay. At least that's what they'll share. What's the difference anyway? Well, no two companies are the same. You have unique products, services, customers, and resources, and the exact same thing is true with each software vendor. Despite their best intentions, not every vendor can take you there. Be careful in your analysis and ultimate decisions, because it certainly will have an impact on the road you choose to travel. Selecting a new accounting or warehouse management system is not a small decision. It must meet the immediate operational and long-term strategic objectives of the company. Most of you seek and value long-term relationships. To achieve success, the vendor you select will become a partner, somewhat like a marriage. Over the years, I've seen wonderful ones, amicable ones, and those that end in a messy divorce. Sorry, need a little water. From an executive level, what's most important is to share the strategic and operational goals of the company, yours and the company. That may be, why do you want the system? Why make the investment? Why take the time and deflect from what you do on a day-to-day basis? It has to have some significant impact to your growth, your profitability, your ability to satisfy customers, something of the magnitude to take it on. You need to understand what your weakest links are, because that's going to also influence your decision. What key metrics do you use to manage your business today? What's your budget, assuming you have one? What's your time frame when you would like to have it implemented? And what are the expected benefits, and how will you measure success? We've already spoken about the importance of a cross-functional team, and they should be established from the very beginning and involved in all key decisions on the software and hardware that is selected, and especially in your implementation planning. After all these years in the industry, I'm more humble than ever because of the pace of change. I know what I know what I don't, and never confuse the two. I strongly suggest that you do what I do, utilize trusted advisors to fill the gaps in your knowledge and capabilities. What are your priorities? This is critical before you make a decision. Obviously, you need the functionality to meet each key business functions, their needs to support their customers today and what they envision for tomorrow. But it's also about the ease of use, the ability to learn and implement the system, the architecture, whether it's a premise-based or hosted or cloud, will influence the cost and the time it may take to get the project started and completed. And of course, the vendor, their financials, their resources, their current objectives, and the quality of support they could provide you. And notice, please, where price falls in, and purposefully. Price is not just about licensing, as I said before. It's hardware and software and maintenance, and the outsourced professional services and the internal dedicated resources that need to be identified for the project. That's management, training, and support. What's your business perspective? Where are you coming from? And what do you need next? Are you seeking an accounting ERP system that has warehouse management functionality? Or are you seeking a warehouse management system that integrates to accounting? Are you seeking a combined warehouse management and warehouse control system utilizing material handling equipment? What about transportation and shipping? Maybe you're not sure. This is why it's critical to document, review and document your requirements and priorities before you meet with vendors from every key function. From an accounting perspective, whether you're national or global, won't merely impact which vendor you select, but which product makes sense for you. Likewise, do you need budgeting, forecast, demand planning, labor management? Some of the ERP suites have strengths in that and out-of-the-box functionality. Some offer you integrated products that meet a larger or a higher level of requirement. From a sales perspective, not just direct sales, but indirect via shopping carts, marketplaces. And from an inventory perspective, lot control, not merely limited to first in, first out and things like that anymore, but FIFO, first expiration, first out. And also a need to handle multiple units of measurement, pallets, cases, and eaches. and perhaps even reverse logistics. From a tracking perspective, order status, shipments and returns, and from storage and fulfillment, picking and packing, labeling and shipping. And most importantly, and never to be minimized in our current world, is secure digital communications, both internally and with your customers, whether it be EDI, XML, APIs, Excel files, or increasingly through customer portals. One of the decisions you must make along the way will be on-premise or cloud. And that gets cloudy. And you really need to ask each vendor, what does that mean? Really comes down to premise versus hosted or public versus private cloud. And the key to those decisions are going to be financial, your current ability and future ability to properly support your environments, and security. So the software selection process. I said the RFP process doesn't work, and if you don't have a software selection process, your vendor will certainly, and all the software vendors will share their process. What's the best choice for your company? How do you decide? This is not an easy journey, and the bigger you are, the more treacherous it can be. Many choose to go it alone and perhaps get to base camp 4 by selecting the right software and vendor. But just like Mount Everest, many never make it to the top. Success is implementing the project on time, whether that's one customer or migrating all of your customers from one platform to another, on time, on budget, and with great customer satisfaction. To be honest, that's probably going to take a trusted advisor or Sherpa to achieve it safely, get to the top, and get the results you desire. So what does the process look like in software selection? Talked about the importance of executives and cross-functional team, but the importance up front is to document your business requirements. You can do this internally, but it's probably better to hire an outside resource to get candid feedback from all sides. Phase 2, you can get in-depth in terms of your analyses of each vendor and their products. And every company is different in every way. But one thing is true. Nobody can keep up with the pace of change. This is why the traditional RFP process doesn't work. It's not good enough to check off boxes for each vendor as to do they have this or do they have that. You need to know if and how it matches what you need in your company. This is an iterative process where you and your team will learn from every meeting and be wiser for the next, qualifying and vetting the vendors that are presenting, adding and deleting as you see fit. Phase 3, making the final decision. Make sure that the vendor you ultimately select can meet your average and peak requirements. It's great that the system could support your day-to-day needs, not so good at Christmas or any other peak periods that you have that it doesn't. Which specific resources will be assigned to your project? Who the project manager is that the vendor assigned is one of the most critical criteria for your success. Who else will be dedicated to your project? Can you meet them? Will they flow with your organization? How will training be conducted? Not to be minimized. How will training be conducted? You have day-to-day operations to take care of. Will it be on-site, off-site? Will there be employee-based training that folks can do online? Each of the vendors have different capabilities and strengths and weaknesses in that regard. Due diligence is not merely about legal review. It involves really getting to know the vendor you're considering, and most important of all, speaking to their clients, and not just the best references they refer you to. Who wouldn't do that? But to those that best match your business requirements, so ask for it. Will there be obstacles to overcome? Of course. Don't be penny wise and pound foolish, especially when it comes to training your team. Every dollar you invest in training will be reduced in the amount of support you require afterwards. And remember, you may have the talent, but will they have the time? You will need to take care of day-to-day operations and dedicate resources to the project if time and budget is important to you. Know what you know where you have gaps, and utilize trusted advisors to fill them. And last, and certainly not least, there will always be changes required, but they need to be tightly managed and controlled in every phase if you want to stay on target and achieve the results you desire. So in terms of staying on target, I believe I've done a good job of doing that for this webinar. And now if there are any questions, I'd certainly be open to taking some.
Sandy, thank you so much for that informative session. Just to let you know, those of you attending this webinar, you are eligible for a free 20-minute consult with Sandy. This is a terrific opportunity to spend some quality time with a software selection veteran who has helped many companies overcome complex business challenges. Sandy will be following up with those of you that attended. Otherwise, his contact information is on the screen right now. So feel free to reach out to him. As Sandy said, we're now going to open up the forum for questions. If you haven't already, please type in your questions into the questions or chat section of the GoToWebinar sidebar. That's on the right side of your screen, and we'll do our best to answer all of them. Okay, Sandy, it looks like we have a couple of questions in the sidebar. Are you able to see them?
I got one. Where should I begin searching for the right software? So the answer to that is, did you do the things I've suggested here? You can't begin looking for the right software until you know what you really require. The web is a rich source of detail, and that could be a great start. Companies usually belong to networks of like-minded executives. Those are great places to see and learn who potentially might be a good resource. And perhaps you could reach out to someone like myself or your own IT folks for other opportunities in terms of who they know as a starting point. Second, should I create an RFP to solicit proposals for software? So I'm a little against that, but there's never one answer. So I don't believe in black and white, yes or no answers. It's all about what you need and what you desire and what your timeline is. And certainly there are great benefits to an RFP process. Don't think that I don't believe that there's a need for metrics and measurement. It's integrated in every part of the process that you saw on the screen before. But the traditional RFP process meant sending out forms to multiple vendors, having them send those forms back, beginning to interview those vendors, and that process can take up to a year. And that's what I believe there's no time for in the current world we live in. I have another question. What are your thoughts on voice technology? Does it need to be for only specific needs? So voice technology has been predominantly used in case could use the word, case picking, food, and there's real benefits where people could be hands-free and be directed to a certain location in a warehouse. And one of the greatest benefits of that was folks who didn't necessarily speak English could easily pick up and learn what needed to be done because it could be converted to multiple languages. I haven't seen it often. I think there are applications for it, and potentially great applications for it in fulfillment. So there are great options out there. What's critical is that when you're looking at voice, it integrates with the vendor software that you're utilizing to serve. Or any other questions? We still have time?
We do
I
have
think that's the
time.
only questions I see so far. Yes. Sorry, I had a different question. Do we get the link to the recorded session in the registered email? You will get the link to the recorded session. The precaution extra flow is to give to when selecting an open source solution for ERP. There's tremendous open source solutions for every application today, nearly ERP. And this is where, I just want to give some kudos to the host of this webinar, SWK, and because it's really important. And if you notice, I gave 3 sides to this single success: the software, the vendor, and the plan. So it's really important that you know who you're working with and who you can count on, not just the implementation, but support afterwards. So that would be my response to that question.